What's up, everybody, man? Back. Welcome to a brand new live stream. Today, we're doing another stream. Look, here's the deal. The first official teaser was revealed for Godzilla Kong 3. We now know the title. We've got a little teaser for it. It's very similar to what they did for Godzilla Kong The New Empire, although this one's like all live action footage, whereas that one was the CGI reveal. But the deal is, I don't have much time today. I just don't. I'm super busy today. This is not a very convenient time for this to have dropped for me. I think I've got like maybe 30 minutes or so. So I figured if I don't have time to make a video, I might as well hop on with you guys, give my thoughts, be like, what's up, see what you guys are thinking. Get your guys' reactions to the teaser. Yeah, I'm really limited on time, so I figured if I can't make a video on it, I'm just gonna do this instead for now. Stream today. We'll do the breakdowns tomorrow, probably. I was gonna do a live trailer breakdown. I guess I'll leave it to you guys what you guys are thinking about that. Like, maybe I did that for -1, which was fun, but I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is that Godzilla Kong 3 is officially titled Supernova. The font's pretty cool. I really like that title card. It's very spacey, obviously, very cosmic. Moons and monsters, indeed. That news roundup I just recently posted, where I was going crazy sicko mode, breaking down the song that Dan Stevens posted while announcing GXK, was obviously I wasn't as far off as some might have thought. But this is pretty cool. Sam Neill is in the teaser. I did see his image. What's up, Kaijuna, Gojimus Prime, Sean, Gojira03, Mr. Metal, Godzilla 93. How's everybody doing? Luke, what'd you get banned from? I see you. You're fine. I don't know what you got banned from. Oh, and today, Toho released that new teaser that showed off that the wonderful Godzilla -1 redesign with the green freaking atomic glow. That is so cool. It's a big day for Godzilla, very unexpectedly. Like, what's the occasion? I don't know what the occasion is. I have no clue, but it's super cool. What's up, the Orca Boss? What's up, Jack? How's it going, everybody? The reason why it's Space Godzilla, not Destroy, is because Space was from Dying Star that turned into Black Hole, and they normally let out supernovas, meaning it's Space Godzilla, maybe Gigan? That's a pretty good theory. Space Godzilla... Help me out, chat. Space Godzilla has two backstories in the Heisei continuity. They actually never committed to the backstory, but... Hiro, I'm gonna have to hang on to that comment. But Space Godzilla was created from what? Mothra flies up into space to fight to catch the asteroid, and she carries some of Godzilla's DNA with her. It's either that or Biollante transcending into space. But what does it merge with? Are you right? Is that what it was? Did it merge with Does it merge with Supernova? I can't remember. I remember it's just because one of the two ways Godzilla's cells make it to space, but what do they merge with? One was Biollante DNA, which was part Godzilla. The other involved Batra and Mothra. Yeah, but what did they merge with to create Space Godzilla? I saw that. There is like some weird alien pyramids going on the news broadcast in the background. I have no clue what that's about. It merged with a black hole. Okay, well, that's a pretty good theory, that the black hole could birth a Space Godzilla. God, Space Godzilla is such a ridiculous monster. I know a lot of you guys are really hyped for Space Godzilla. Ugh. He is like the last space character I would be excited about. You know how excited I would be if it was Orga or Gigan or another Ghidorah, Monster X, anybody other than Space Godzilla, the most ridiculous one of all time. I don't think it merged. I think it was mutated from the supernova black hole. I'll have to rewatch the movie to find out, but that sounds more right to me, that it was Godzilla's DNA catching solar radiation causing it to grow into Space Godzilla. No, that's Space Godzilla's origins in the Heisei movie. Yes, I know. We're trying to figure out what Space Godzilla's origins are in the Heisei series so that we can see how it might play into the new movie. I really liked the title card reveal. I think it's a super interesting take having Caitlin Dever's character be a Monarch receptionist. I love that if you read her little chat log, she's like trash talking being a receptionist for Monarch, and she's like, this is dumb. I hate the wait music that they've got on these things. People are upset, you know. It's like, it's pretty interesting. That's great world building. And I'm very excited to see what else is going on. We need our boy Rodan back! I know, if all of the Titans are waking up like it seems they are, there seems to be another mass awakening occurring. Is that another indication that it might be the return of our boy King Ghidorah? I don't know about that. I wouldn't think they're going to bring Ghidorah back after he got vaporized, but you know what? Personally, that'd be what I would want to see. I'd want to see Kong fight King Ghidorah. That'd be pretty awesome. Although it'd be like, yeah, I have to make him look really different than he was in the last movie in order for... you really have to make him stand out so it wasn't a rehash of King of the Monsters. I haven't seen the teaser yet, actually. Alpha Dragon Wolf Warrior, you gotta check it out. I've posted it on my channel. You can check it out here on this channel. Oh, I see a super chat. Who sent that? Saltman64, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's so nice of you. Space Godzilla was from Godzilla cells going through a black hole and then irradiated from multiple supernovas. So this sounds like a pretty freaking accurate theory that this very well could be the origins of Space Godzilla in the MonsterVerse. I don't know how I feel about it if it winds up being Space Godzilla. I'm gonna cringe a little bit. It really depends on how they do it. Like, they could make Space Godzilla so awesome, or they could make Space Godzilla so lame. Actually, you know what, Alex? That's who I would like to see. I personally would love to see Hedorah. Hedorah comes, of course, from a different galaxy, so this is right in line with this. Hedorah could have been mutated from, who knows, a supernova. Hedorah comes from the Orion Nebula, if I remember correctly. And I would love that, especially because, like, as the MonsterVerse gets more ridiculous, Hedorah could be a really interesting character to introduce, especially if you treat Hedorah with a little more nuance. Like, it's not as silly goofy. I mean, Hedorah is actually not silly or goofy in Godzilla vs. Hedorah. The movie Godzilla vs. Hedorah is silly and goofy. Hedorah is actually a pretty horrific, one of the most terrifying monsters in the Showa continuity. And I would love if they took that and were like, you remember how scary Hedorah used to be when you were a kid, and there's those scenes where Hedorah will fly over and people will turn to dead bodies. You take that energy, you take the energy of, like, we're gonna take all the nightmare fuel that is Hedorah and give it the proper treatment in the modern day. That's what I would love to see. I do worry if that's what they're gonna do over at Godzilla -2, but you know, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that'd be great. I know a lot of you guys want Gigan as well. I would love Gigan, especially if you go the bio route, the bio enhanced route with Gigan. I think that'd be sick, as I've pitched on multiple videos, but I have no clue. I don't know who it could be. If you want to know my honest to God bet, you guys aren't going to like this answer, but if I'm going to make a bold prediction right now, and you can quote me on this when the movie comes out, feel free to. I just got a text, so I had to see that really fast. But you can feel free to quote me on this when the movie comes out, or when we learn more. I believe that this will be a brand new MonsterVerse Titan that will be heavily inspired from many of our favorite space kaiju from the Toho series. I think that they're going to introduce a brand new monster that we've never seen before, just like they did with Scar King and Shimo. That's my bet. That's my personal bet, but we'll see. Yeah, dude, I have no idea how they managed to rebuild Rio. Also, the MonsterVerse has completely forgotten about the fact that wherever the Titans go, Titan radiation follows, and the place becomes basically inhospitable because it is completely taken over by, like, prehistoric plant life. What? Was that just a Muto thing? Because it happened where the Mutos went and nowhere else. Behemoth, the one who we are told multiple times in the MonsterVerse spreads like the highest dosage of Titan radiation that can cause plant life to grow, you know, the Titan that we were told could do that, didn't do that in Rio. Rio was completely fine when we catch back up in Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, and now in this movie, we're seeing that Rio is very well rebuilt. So unless they have some sort of explanation, like, and this is the type of world building that the MonsterVerse desperately needs. If they introduce something like a concept like this, I'd be incredibly excited and very happy because it would show somebody's thinking really deeply about this. If they introduce the idea of anti-nuclear bacteria, like in Godzilla vs. Biollante 1989, and say that they have created an anti-Titan bacteria that can erode the Titan radiation, that's how they can make these places hospitable again. That's just a wonderful idea you can have for free, the MonsterVerse. Take that idea from me and use it. It at least clears up the question of why was Vegas and San Francisco and even Janjira completely transformed into these prehistoric wastelands, and then every other city that the Titans have been to is just completely fine? Like, nothing at all. What the heck, man? And Behemoth, the one who can restore the rainforests. What? That's the Titan that should cause the most prehistoric life to regrow. Probably going to be a new monster, but we're here for Space Godzilla. Copium, also love your vids. Thank you so much, ETZilla. I really appreciate the super chat. That means a lot to me. Chap, what space monster do you want to see the most? I'm pretty sure I can do polls. I'm going to try one. What space monster do you want to see the most? Let's say Space Godzilla. Let's do Gigan, Hedorah, or other / new monster. All right, let's see what you guys think. I would love to see your guys' thoughts. Boston is a wasteland. That city never got rebuilt. Hey, we've never heard in any of the films what happened to Boston. We have no idea. But why did Rio get rebuilt? Why did Rio get 2 chances? That's not even like an essential city. Is it? Like, I guess it is if you're in Brazil. I would think the United States, where Monarch is primarily located, I guess that's kind of my basis, is like Monarch's the one I'm assuming doing a lot of the rebuilding. I would assume Monarch would put all of their resources to like putting back together DC. We've never heard what happened to DC. Even Boston, I think, would be a pretty big priority. But Rio got rebuilt twice. I guess Behemoth didn't do the most damage to it. But after the New Empire, holy crap, there's nothing left of that city. Hedorah moves too slow. Iron Wolf, you're thinking too literally. An updated Hedorah, one that can slide around and like glide with the sludge, one that can jump and fly and glide through the air. Like a CGI Hedorah, are you kidding me? That would be so freaking cool. It'd move really fast, I would think. Oh, and I'm doing all right. It's been a crazy day. I was not prepared for all of this today. I was working on just normal news and update video that'll come out real soon. I finished it right as I logged on to see that there was all this new info breaking. And I really wasn't prepared for it because like I said, it's not been I've got like a family emergency that I need to attend to today. So that's what I'm going to be doing this afternoon. So I don't know how much time I actually have to record or stream, which is why I'm streaming rather than making a video. I will do a breakdown on this teaser as soon as I can, so presumably tomorrow, but maybe we'll do another live stream catching up where we can try and break down the trailer together. I think that'd be kind of fun. I did do the binary code. I did check the binary, and the binary is pretty interesting. It specifically states Godzilla Kong. What is it? Watch the skies. What does it say? Let me pull it back up. I screenshotted it, but it's interesting because if you type it in, it says Godzilla Kong, watch this space. But then The pattern repeats. Godzilla Kong, watch this space. Godzilla Kong, watch this space. Godzilla Kong, watch this space. It's just a repeating binary pattern on her computer, except the way it's typed is Godzilla Kong, period. Watch this space. There's no space between the repeat. So if you type it in literally, if you actually translate it, it eventually says Godzilla Kong, watch this space Godzilla. Is that a sign? Maybe. I also think it's also probably just the fact that they didn't put a second period because maybe they didn't expect that we were going to search the repeating pattern. In fact, if you go to the end of the teaser, it doesn't repeat. It just says Godzilla Kong, watch this space. But yeah, maybe they just didn't expect us to type all of it in. But if you type it all in, it specifically says Godzilla Kong, watch this space Godzilla. I'd love to see Space Godzilla, but it's too soon to see him. You have a weird feeling it's Gigan. How is it too soon for Space Godzilla for you? I mean, for me, Space Godzilla is just a ridiculous monster. It's not one of the more popular or well-beloved Toho monsters. Kind of wild that the Space Godzilla fan base has gotten so vocal since this announcement came out. But before this, before we started to get teasers that there might be a space monster in GXK, there was not all that much hype around Space Godzilla. So it's interesting that there's all this vocal outcry of people being so excited for Space Godzilla in the MonsterVerse now, considering like 3 years ago, people thought Space Godzilla was just the most ridiculous thing ever. But I don't think it's too early for Space Godzilla at all. I don't think it is too early at all. I think after the new Empire, like the shark has been jumped. It'd be pretty hard to jump it again, I would think. Aliens is a pretty big jump. Aliens could get pretty ridiculous. Multiverse is where I think is where you break the... I think that's where you break the suspension of disbelief. But it's interesting that you guys all want Space Godzilla so badly. If Kong gets a new power-up/weapon, what do you think it'll be? I don't know. Something that they can make an easy toy out of. I have no clue. Probably a freaking spacesuit. I don't know what Kong is gonna get. Space Godzilla gets one movie and everyone wants him in the MonsterVerse. Bring back Destroya. That's what I'm saying. How many Heisei entries did it take us to get to Space Godzilla? It didn't take a ton. Let me check. It took us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get to Space Godzilla. Six Heisei Godzilla films to get to Space Godzilla. Godzilla 2014, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla Kong the New Empire, Godzilla Kong Supernova. We're right at the right time for Space Godzilla. Oh, you are so right. Dan Stevens posted the term, watch this space. Ooh. I mean, you know what I'm really just most excited about? I'm excited mostly about 3 things. Thank you so much, Owen. I really appreciate that. That's so nice. 3 things that I was really excited about this teaser. Number 1. I was really excited that Rick Stanton's name was on that computer because it shows that somebody out there is remembering that these characters exist in the MonsterVerse. Rick Stanton, Mark Russell, G-Team, like these are things that exist in the MonsterVerse that should have some lasting effects. I was really, really happy that we got a Rick Stanton reference just because even if he's not in the movie, it shows he's still in this universe. We also got a reference on that computer to one of the comic characters. One of the comic characters that is in the new MonsterVerse Declassified. I haven't even read that one yet. I don't even own it. Actually, straight up, I do not know how to own it. I've never looked into it. I don't know how to buy it. Did it come out in stores? Can I buy it on Amazon? Is it only a digital thing, or did I straight up miss it because I didn't get the Kickstarter? I have no idea if I missed the Declassified. But there's a character reference from the Declassified comics, which shows that somebody out there has been listening to the fact that we want the comics to matter more. Will they have a lasting impression in this movie? Probably not. But again, it's just showing that somebody working on this film remembers the continuity a little better than they have on the previous films. It's really nice. The third thing that I really like is I loved the teaser having so many Easter eggs. There's the binary that you can type out the binary, and through that you can get the reveal Godzilla Kong watch this space. There's the phone number, and if you call the phone number, actually in a few hours I'll have a video where you just hear the audio of the phone calls. If you call the phone calls, it gives you, which I think is Dan Stevens talking, I think that's Trapper, but it gives you like a little thing on like Titan evacuation, and you get to, like, you're calling the Monarch call center, you know? So I love that they are actively giving us teasers and online info. Like, we are being able and enabled to dig into this stuff and speculate and have excitement again. Godzilla Kong: The New Empire was cool, where we got the title card reveal with Scar King. That was really neat, but there was not as much to bite into. Like, we could analyze that thing didn't look like Kong. It looked like an ape, but it didn't look like Kong. We could analyze the fact that there's like bones around it, so maybe it's a Titan hunter, but there was so little to engage us beyond just surface level observations. Here, you're totally right, Alpha Dragon. It is an ARG. We're getting a full-on ARG again. We're getting like back in the day when we had the Monarch website. Please revive the Monarch website. That thing was so freaking awesome to just be able to dig in day by day and experience the excitement of the MonsterVerse together. If you guys have seen it, I've just recently posted a video talking about how Godzilla King of the Monsters was the peak of the MonsterVerse, and I'm not talking about the film. I'm strictly talking about the experience of being a fan leading up to it, and one of the biggest and most helpful things they did was that they had that ARG element where we could engage in the MonsterVerse on a level that extends well beyond just watching the trailers, and that is what they've given us today, and I could not be more excited about it. Thank you very much, Alexander. Declassified is online right now, and it should be in stores. That is great to hear. Abaddon would be a great addition to the next movie. I'm very curious to see what they do in the next movie, because like the team working on Kong Survivor Instinct teased that we might see Abaddon again, and this would be the place if all of the Titans are waking up. If there's another mass awakening, that seems like where it would be. Holy cow, D-Man! Did not know you started streaming. Also, did you see the new Godzilla design for the manga by Shinji Nishikawa? I think it is personally burning thermonuclear and maybe my favorite. I think it is personally burning. Are you referencing Sen? Are you referencing my tier list when I called it burning thermonuclear for my favorite design? That is crazy if that's what you're doing. What a throwback. It's the one where it's like a really hyper Final Wars, hyper stylized Final Wars-ish design. I think I've seen that. I am so behind on news at the moment, so like I'm not up to date, but that I have seen bits and pieces of it, and I'm very excited for it. Are a majority of the Titans going to beckon to Space Godzilla's call, or are they active just in fear of Space Godzilla based on the audio from the teaser? You know, first of all, we don't know it's Space Godzilla. But I have no idea. I could totally see it, and this would be, how freaking cool would this be? Imagine if instead of a mass awakening, where King Ghidorah awakens the Titans and they begin to attack the planet, where personally, the Titans are not in the wrong for attacking the planet. Like, we have built the most ugly, destructive things possible, and we call them buildings, and we act like it's a good thing, and all they do is contribute misery to the environment as a whole. You know, if you're Behemoth and you wake up and there's a whole bunch of buildings in your way, you're gonna probably want to knock those down to pave some way for the trees to grow again. They were doing it because Ghidorah told them to, and Ghidorah was a bad guy who wanted chaos and the destruction of Earth, so he knew what he was doing, but the other Titans didn't. My point is, how much cooler would it be if in the new movie there's another mass awakening? People are terrified, because what if this is another Ghidorah situation where the Titans are going to go on a rampage? But then they don't, and instead they're like fleeing. Instead they're burrowing into the Hollow Earth, and they're running away, and they're terrified. How much scarier is that when you start to realize that all of the Titans on Earth do not want to be here for whenever what's out there shows up down here? That sounds like an awesome idea to me. I'd love that. What's up, Giga Kaiju? How's it going? What do you think is going to be better, GXK Supernova or GXK Supernova? Well, out of those two options, I'd probably say GXK Supernova, but I'm not entirely sure if I'm 100% with you. If there's another Mass Awakening, I really want to see Mokele Membe and Yamato no Orochi properly. I would love to see that too. I really want to see more of the 17 and counting. I feel bad that we never followed through on the MonsterVerse's promises after King of the Monsters. So now's the time. How's it going, Oscar Hernandez? Thank you. Thank you for like 10 full years of supporting this channel. I really appreciate it. And same to you, David Brown. You guys were like my first ever subs. So big thanks for tuning in. Do you think they would ever bring back Orga? I personally would be way more excited to see Orga in this new movie just over Space Godzilla, just because Orga is a very cool idea. I love the idea of like a species of alien that we don't really understand what they are, what they're supposed to be, but they're all messed up. And they start to assimilate Godzilla to try and take on a form that they can survive on the planet with. That's such a cool idea. I would love to see Orga back. I don't think we're going to see Orga back just because Orga's a little too obscure. Thoughts on Rick Stanton Easter egg, dude? I love it. I love it so much. I've got my Rick Stanton mug up there, but I'm not going to grab it. I love that he's back, at least as a mention. I really do hope we get some connections to Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Now, the Monarch map that they're showing doesn't really look to me like the one from Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Like, you can see a map of the Earth in the background of the teaser. It doesn't really look the same as the one from Legacy of Monsters. I mean, it's obviously Earth, but I mean, like, I don't see any of the same, like, markers on it, you know? Maybe it's because this one's not dealing with hollow earth portals or gamma radiation. It also doesn't look like the dots on it line up with the Titans we saw in Godzilla King of the Monsters' map, so I don't know. But also, we don't really know where a ton of those monsters wound up. They woke up and we don't know where they settled back down. We were told they returned to their original habitats, but we don't know what that means. So it's entirely possible that the Titans are nowhere near where they started in King of the Monsters, and they're all over the place now. Any ideas about Godzilla Asia trailer, the Green Godzilla, I mean? I have no clue what's going on with that, but I think it's fantastic. I loved the Godzilla Asia trailer. I particularly love the new -1 updated design. That thing is so freaking cool, and I'm really, really curious what the point of it is. I can't help but feel like that probably is an indication of what Godzilla's design is going to look like in the new movie, or at least the new Godzilla ride from Takashi Yamazaki. Rest in peace, Methuselah. Alexander, I think it's so silly that people call Methuselah not canon because of the Summit Kaiju lawsuit, which I've mentioned on the channel before. I've known about that lawsuit for a long time. I've spoken to Summit Kaiju in person about it. But yeah, Methuselah is not uncanon from the monster. It's not like they wiped Methuselah from canon, which is what a lot of people say. Like, Methuselah's not canon anymore. They just can't show him on screen. He still exists in this universe. That's not how canon works, dummy. They didn't erase Methuselah from canon. Also, I saw today there was an update that someone found. I haven't seen the source. I'll have to look into it. Maybe I'll have to reach out and ask Summit. Supposedly the lawsuit was dropped. That's what people said today on Twitter. But again, I have to look into that, so don't quote me on it. I have no idea. Yeah, yes, childish. The Green Godzilla thing is like a tourist thing. I don't know what the deal with the new Godzilla design is. Is it something that they made for that new teaser? Or is that gonna be an asset that is used in the future? Again, I'm thinking maybe it'll show up in a new Godzilla ride, but that teaser image of the Godzilla the ride from Takashi Yamazaki looks like the Maigoji design. It doesn't look like the new Green Godzilla, so I don't know. You didn't like the Godzilla Asia trailer, Roar? I thought it was great. It was super cool. I liked that it was like a new Roar. It was just a new Roar. It was super neat. Yeah, Cody, we got first of all, a new Japanese teaser for like a big Asian celebration featuring a brand new Godzilla design. Secondly, yeah, the MonsterVerse dropped a new teaser for the new movie, hyping up the new title and everything. What's up, Big Jack? How's it going, man? One of your friends is in the teaser? That's cool. Is one of your friends an actor in the movie? That's pretty sick. I personally think that the design is for that specific ad, nothing more. It very well could be, but it's pretty cool. I mean, it's clearly a modified version of the MyGoji design. So, like, I wouldn't expect Godzilla to regenerate 1-to-1 in the next movie. It wouldn't make a lot of sense, especially if we've already seen that when his cheek regenerates, it regenerated with, like, scarred tissue. So it wouldn't make a ton of sense for Godzilla to regenerate into the exact same creature as he started as in Godzilla -1. Which is why I would totally be down for that type of Godzilla design. That one in the Asia ad I thought was fantastic. Please include whatever Methuselah news you find in the next news roundup. A lot of us want to see him again. Ultra, I'm a little behind on news, but whenever I catch up, I will absolutely cover the Methuselah situation. Are you worried about -1 sequel being affected by the potential foreign film tariff? Yes, I am. I have no clue how that's going to affect things. I don't think anybody really understands what that means, including the guy who made it up. I think he was just making shit up as he does, and I'm really curious to see what the impacts of that are and how long it sticks around, but I guess we'll see. I think it would be super cool for Godzilla to glow green for Supernova. Yeah, well, I mean, that Toho, the new Japanese ad features a green Godzilla. Obviously, it's pretty cool. Obviously, it was awesome in Godzilla the Animated Series, so it could be pretty sick to see. I just want Godzilla to go back to being blue, personally. I would like to see a Godzilla return to his normal state. I saw some really cool fan art, which basically it just takes the Godzilla Evolve design. It kind of beefs him up again, adds a little bit of weight to him. It covers up the back spines so that they're no longer crystallized. And then I think he looks actually fantastic. I think it looked great, but that was like the only changes they made, giving him a little more weight and changing a little bit of the like proportioning, I guess, on the spines. Green is a more accurate atomic color. More accurate than what? Because Godzilla's atomic breath is specifically based on the, what are they called, the Cherenkov lights or something like that, which are a real phenomenon. It's basically a sonic boom that happens that you can see with your eyes due to radiation, and it's blue. It is a blue beam. It's a blue light. So Godzilla's blue atomic breath, that's the accurate one. I know a lot of people want to see the white dorsal spines back. Do you think Kong will have the Beast Glove? I would be surprised if Kong's Beast Glove isn't brought back in the new film, but personally, I don't want to see that thing at all. I hate the Beast Glove. I don't want to see it back. I really hope, if anything, the Beast Glove is trashed in the first couple minutes of the movie and Kong just goes on without it and can kick ass and doesn't need it. I don't want it. I don't want it. And I don't think you need to keep giving Kong power-ups. Just write him so he's a better fighter and a more, like, write him so he's smarter and a better fighter, and you don't need the Beast Glove. Let's see, you guys, the poll is speaking for itself here. 55% of you want Godzilla, Space Godzilla in the new movie. 20% of you want Gigan. Only 5% want Hedorah is crazy. And then 20% want a brand new monster. What a crazy result. 5% for Gigan. You guys are crazy for that one. What about if Godzilla's dorsal plates and atomic breath was red? Red's always cool. Red's always neat. Again, I want to go back to the atomic breath, or I saw another comment that got into my brain there. I want the atomic breath to go back to blue. Is that what we were talking about? How did I lose my train of thought so bad? Oh, yeah, it was what we were talking about. What just happened in my brain? I would like the atomic breath to go back to being blue. I think going back to the base form for Godzilla is not a bad thing. Gigan and uh-oh, my internet dropping? Dang, man. My internet's all funky right now. Sorry about that, guys. Not surprising, Hedorah is from the worst era, and I don't mean Showa as a whole. I mean when Godzilla became a kid's character. Hey, fair enough. You don't like Hedorah, that's fair enough. Dude, I've seen so many people memeing Star King being the bad guy of the next movie. I think that's awesome. I voted for Hedera, but given the chance between Hedera and an original Titan, I'd take an original Titan. Fair enough. Given the chance between Hedera and original Titan, I would actually take Hedera, which is such a twist, because if you were to look back like 5 years, I was so anti-Hedera in the MonsterVerse. I did not want Hedera anywhere near this series. But now after the New Empire, I'm like, bring it on. Bring it on and make him scary. Bear McCreary is not composing this one, but Henry Jackman is. And Henry Jackman did Kong Skull Island soundtrack. And in my humble opinion, as much as I love the McCreary OST, as much as I love hearing those old school songs back, I think McCreary did an incredible job modernizing Godzilla and Mothra's themes. Henry Jackman, I do think, delivered the strongest soundtrack of the MonsterVerse, in my personal opinion. I think it has just the most unique sound to it. I think it's the most brilliant overall. It's got really wonderful and thoughtful use of instrumentation. McCreary's did as well. It's really between the two of them that I'm like, they both killed it. But for me, Henry Jackman didn't rely on he didn't rely on previous music. He just went for it with his own songs, and I think that they really stood on their own. I think that they were really great. Especially, I would really love to hear, like, Project Monarch return. That theme return for Monarch, that should have been the theme for Monarch moving forward. It was so great. Thank you so much, Big Jack. I really appreciate that, man. Pink is actually the most powerful color for radiation. Depends on the spectrum. I meant green is the most oftenly depicted color for radiation in fiction and movies. Yeah, that is true, like green contamination and such. For me, it's a tie between Desplat and McCreary. That's gold. Desplat needs some more love. His soundtracks are great. The Kong Skull Island soundtrack was pretty neat. It had a decent man versus monster. It had decent soundtrack. Man versus Beast, Battle of Skull Island, the Monster Mash were the highlights. Project Monarch and the Island for me are like the two most wonderful pieces of music written for the MonsterVerse that doesn't include Ifukube or Koseki. Did you get into the trailer and see that they're rebuilding Rio to its full glory, and the neon pyramids are from Vegas funding? I did not see that about the pyramids, Rick. I can't really see that much on my trailer. That's crazy that you can see all that detail. I cannot see where you would find the info on where the pyramids got their funding. I can see the Rio thing. And yeah, like rebuilding Rio again, I mentioned this, but I would have liked to see more consequences for the previous MonsterVerse films. I don't like whenever the cities are just magically rebuilt. I feel the same way about Toho films. I like to see a little bit more consequences. One of my favorite things about Godzilla 1984 was that you can see the real consequences of Godzilla's rampage in Godzilla vs. Biollante, but yeah, well, I'm checking the monitors, Rick. I just can't. Maybe it's just because I don't have it in high enough quality, but there's no way I could read that unless I'm just not looking at a great frame right now. I literally have it pulled up right over here. Yeah, this is an Otaki jacket from Singular Point. I would love to see Biollante. We the ones, me too, man. I would love to see Biollante. Gonna miss Kong and Zuko's theme from the previous films. We have no idea. It's entirely possible that he takes some inspiration from those or uses some of those themes. As much as I enjoyed Kong's theme from the New Empire and Godzilla vs. Kong, and as much as I thought Zuko's theme was alright, ever since I've heard the comparison between that Lion King theme and Kong's theme and found out that it's like straight up ripped, it was like straight up plagiarized, like I can't get behind it. I'm way more excited to go back to Kong's theme from Kong Skull Island. Alpha Dragon, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Have you ever seen the Heisei Mothra trilogy? I have seen the Rebirths of Mothra 2 and 3. I've never actually seen the Rebirth of Mothra 1. Hey, D-Man, congrats on 100K. Thank you so much, Pan. I really appreciate that. Do you think Jackman will use Ifukube's motif in his Godzilla theme? I have no freaking clue, but I would love that. I don't know, but I really hope so. What's up, Goji Guy? How's it going? Scarlet, how's it going? Yeah, you haven't heard? Okay, so look it up. You can find, like, people have tweeted it out before, but if you look up a comparison between, to be fair, Kong's theme and GVK is just Man of Steel theme where he jumps on Mechagodzilla. That too, like, it sounds very generically Justice League. I actually haven't heard a comparison straight up of that. I haven't heard a one-to-one comparison of the Justice League of, what'd you say? It's BVS? Is that what you said? Oh, Man of Steel. I haven't heard the Man of Steel comparison. But if you listen to Kong's theme, bum 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 bum, dude, those voice cracks go hard. If you compare that, The Lion King, I think it's the part when the stampede is happening. It goes bum 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 bum. Same deal, and it sounds freaking the same, like straight out of Godzilla vs. Kong. Like, it's straight up the same instrumentation and everything. Bummed me out when I saw that comparison. Well done for 100K. Thank you so much, Owen. I really appreciate that. Rick, I'll have to check that later. I'll have to check that once I'm off stream. Goji Guy is streaming right now. That's awesome. Godzilla vs. Kong soundtrack is better than Godzilla X Kong, but that's not saying much. I actually really like the Godzilla vs. Kong soundtrack for the most part. Alexander Lucas, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thoughts on the Monarch graphic novel? Kickstarter. I feel a little weird about it. Like, on the one hand, I'm very excited for it. I think it's great that they're telling stories with Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Again, any chance we can have to legitimize, yes, this is an official title. You can check out my channel, David. I've got the title card, the teaser posted now. Any chance to legitimize Monarch Legacy of Monsters and spend more time developing the lore of that, I'm all for. I'm very curious about why they need to do Kickstarters. Like, I'm a little confused about that. We didn't need to back in the day, or maybe it's just because those older comics didn't sell as well as they hoped, like Godzilla Awakening and stuff. I don't know. I've always felt a little, like, confused about why we're doing Kickstarters, but on the whole, I'm very excited for it, and I really hope it does well. I know it's, like, kind of slowed down a lot, so hey, there's a Monarch Legacy of Monsters Kickstarter out there right now where you can support it and support some of those smaller stories that probably aren't going to be told on screen in the comic book form. That's all good if you want to support the comics. If you're not into the comics, I guess it's up to you, but yeah, it's on Kickstarter now. I agree. Kickstarter, personally, for me, it feels like more like a thing that you should do for indie comics, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I would like to see it succeed. I would like to see that story told. I completely forgot to congrat you on hitting 100K, D-Man. Thank you so much, Gojira fan. I really appreciate that. I saw a comment earlier. Rip to the people who wanted the 2014 grounded tone back. Uh-oh. I know. I don't know what the tone of this movie's gonna be. I hope that it's a more serious version of a space story. It could be done very apocalyptic and very scary, if it's done right. But if it isn't done right, I will cringe a little bit. I want the tone of King of the Monsters back, where we were full on sci-fi with a little fantasy, and it took itself mostly seriously. That's what I want. I thought that was the best tone. Watching this during my lunch. Nice, Angry Bird. So what do you think about Toho investing millions of dollars for the future of Godzilla? It makes sense, does it not? I mean, they want Godzilla to be a brand that continues well on beyond the MonsterVerse and -1. They want Godzilla to be super healthy, more so than he was previously, where Godzilla would have to go on 10-year hiatuses to recover from the burnout. And so it makes sense to me that you would, moving forward, put a lot of money into developing a very solid strategy to keep Godzilla relevant, probably without burning him out. Yeah, Rick, I agree. I'm fine with some of the humor in Godzilla King of the Monsters, but certainly not the Sam Middleditch humor, personally. Although I do really like that line where he's like, I'm a huge fan of your wife's work. I think that's great. It can be goofy in premise and serious in tone. I wish people got that. I know, I agree. I think Shin Godzilla is goofy in premise and serious in tone, and for me it totally worked. What time period should the -1 take place? Like 50s or 60s? I would think early 50s, personally. Yeah, I do agree, Rick. Wingard's films I do think had better humor. But IMO, we've never recaptured the magic that was Kong Skull Island. I mean, that movie I thought had the best humor of the MonsterVerse by far. By far. I have no clue why Bernie's not going to be back in this new movie. I don't know. I'm very curious about that. See, that's another place where those MonsterVerse comics can come in handy, because they can tell us what these characters are up to when they don't show up in the movies. Didn't know, but grats on the 100K, bro. Also, I'd love to see a more serious movie tone, for sure, but wouldn't mind a sliding tail kick again for a nice throwback. Well, Duo, I really appreciate the kind words. If there was a time for the sliding tail kick, that's what we should have been doing in the Hollow Earth when Godzilla was next to the anti-gravity field. If Godzilla could, like, use the anti-gravity to lift himself and tail slide, that would have been peak. Maybe there's some unknown contract where an actor can only appear for no more than 2 movies. Yeah. I don't know why the MonsterVerse is like a revolving door of characters, but that has got to change, man. Solidify a cast, please. Do you know how excited I'll be if Rick Stanton or Mark Russell cameos at least for like one scene in this movie? Rick Stanton's only had 1 film, so this would be his 2, but still. Kong Skull Island, Forehead versus Godzilla to the death. What are you talking about? I'm willing to bet it's a new monster because D-Man can predict the future. Sen, sometimes my predictions are like painfully accurate. Sometimes they are wildly inaccurate. The MonsterVerse Kickstarter still needs 13K in 5 days or else it doesn't get made. Ooh. Well, maybe I'll have to make some community posts about it. That's a lot to try and... Or else it doesn't get made at all? I thought that it was going to get made regardless, but that it needed the money or else it wasn't going to get a physical release. Again, like, I don't totally understand. Is it because... and maybe this is proof of that, the fact that the Kickstarter's struggling a little bit. Like, is that proof that, like, the reason that they have to do Kickstarters is because there's such limited demand for the MonsterVerse comics? I don't know. I'm very curious to know what changed over at Legendary Comics between 2018 and now, to where we used to get the comics released and that was like, now we have to like support them to even get them made. I'm very curious to know what happened or what the strategy behind the scenes is. I don't know why I don't know what's up with that, but I hope the Monarch one does well. I would like to see stories told in the Monarch Legacy of Monsters universe. I would really like to see Monarch legitimized more. I would like to see more references to it. I think I think the more content that you can tell in the worlds of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, the more it will help people to like embrace that show. And I love that show and want to see it do super well. So what is up with this, like, people wanting Trapper to pilot Jet Jaguar that's been going on lately? So silly. Hey, D-Man, been a while. Glad to see you. Thank you very much, Mr. L. How's it going? People want Trapper to pilot Jet Jaguars just because he wears red and Jet Jaguar's a little red. What is up with that theory? You want him to pilot it like a Jaeger. Why would you not want Jet Jaguar to have agency of his own and to be able to operate himself? Also, Trapper the monster pacifist? The monster pacifist and dentist to the Titans? The guy who does not want to hurt the Titans at all, and the guy who's like, well, my friend Mikhail died, but that's just the way of nature. That guy you want to punch a Titan in the face with a robot? I don't think so. That's so out of character for him. You're so silly for that. Trapper. Ridiculous. Legendary Comics is not a big publisher at all. That Netflix Kong comic has to be published by someone else. Really? I didn't know that. I did not realize that Kong comic is not coming from Legendary Comics. That's pretty surprising. Trapper Mind should become Jet Jaguar AI. But why? Trapper as a pacifist. That would mean Jet Jaguar wouldn't fight the Titans. Jet Jaguar PP, I'm here for it. Jet Jaguar PP is peak. Trapper should have stayed as Steven Randa, the original character name. I don't know if it would have done much. Personally, I really like the way that Monarch Legacy of Monsters went with the Randa bloodline. I thought that was a super interesting way to take that character. And if Trapper was his grandson, would that really be all that much better? Trapper would have been it would have been the same character, but with a throwaway line about how he's related to Bill Randa, or maybe they don't explain it at all, like Ren Sarazawa, and it's left as an open mystery. No point in keeping him as Randa. There's just no point. At least Monarch Legacy of Monsters unpacked it in a very meaningful and thoughtful way. I love the Singular Point soundtrack. Me too. Singular Point, I think, is fantastic. Rogers, that is such a similar pitch to what I've pitched, mixing Shimo's DNA and Godzilla's DNA to get Space Godzilla. You and I are right there on the same page. What if Titanus Doug became irradiated and turned into Minya? Well, I would hope Godzilla smacks him around the way he did in the Showa series. He deserves it. Did you notice Sam Neill's picture on the desk in the title card reveal? I did notice that. I noticed that, and I'm thinking, is he going to be Caitlin Dever's dad? More family drama in the MonsterVerse coming our way? I'm really hoping Axis Mundi gets retconned, because I hate the time dilation realm. Time distortion realm. You hate it? Why? Axis Mundi, I think, is awesome. I think that they need to unpack it a little more and build it into... I think they really need to build it into the universe a lot better. But I think it is a fantastic idea, and I know I'm in a very unpopular camp, and I've said this many times. Personally, I like Axis Mundi so much more than I like Hollow Earth. I think it is so much more of an interesting place. It's scarier, it feels more dangerous, it feels more like a world monsters would inhabit. I think it's so cool, and I would love to see more of it unpacked. The main story I'm interested in Monarch graphic novel is the Ion Dragon attacking the USS Loudon. Alexander, me too. I'm very curious about that one, especially because like the Loudon has had a really complicated lore if you actually track it. It started out as the original intent being Godzilla sunk it, but Jordan Vogt Roberts didn't like that, so he wanted to imply that a different monster sunk it. That's all good and fine. Well, Godzilla King of the Monsters, if you read those end credits, pretty much outright confirms that it was sunk by Godzilla. But that doesn't make sense because Godzilla hasn't been awakened yet. So then we jump forward to Monarch Legacy of Monsters, where we learn it was a different monster, not Godzilla. But the showrunners of Monarch Legacy of Monsters confirmed it was not the Ion Dragon who sunk the Loudon. It wasn't. It was a different monster. But now the comic is coming out and it's retconning it back to the Ion Dragon, as many of us thought when we watched Legacy of Monsters. So interesting to me. I have no idea, Toon King, who the big bad's going to be. I have no clue. I think it's going to be a brand new monster that takes heavy inspiration from Space Godzilla and Gigan and such. Maybe Space Godzilla, Gigan, and Hedorah are going to be the most influential on whatever this new monster winds up being. But I do think it's going to be a brand new monster. You think maybe sometimes we can get together for a live stream to speculate about where they're going to take the film? Would love to talk about the lore implications. That sounds good to me, Rick. Well, Doherty could be going... Oh, well, Doherty could be going with The Awakening, where he's awakened in 1945. Maybe. Entirely possible, but no other reference to Godzilla Awakening in King of the Monsters. Not one. Not even an E.G. Serizawa reference, so I doubt it. I mean, it's possible. I don't know. I don't know, Neko. I have no control over when the ads play. That's on YouTube's end. Honestly, the MonsterVerse Space Godzilla design should be based on Shin Godzilla. I don't agree to that. Shin Godzilla should remain his own thing. I'm glad they're not doing the Son of Godzilla route in the next one, because me and my friend are working on a draft for a MonsterVerse Son of Godzilla movie. Well, that's cool, Toon King. Don't never say never, man. We have no clue. It could happen. Hey, you guys want... I probably have to get going like real soon, but there's one thing in this teaser that I'm very curious about. If you read the computer, it says MRK, like Mark, MRK 11.434.88. What could that mean? At first, I thought that might be a like coordinates, like GPS coordinates, but I haven't been able to find anything with that yet. But that's what it says. I'm super curious what that could mean. I haven't seen anybody uncover that one yet. I also just noticed this freaking feeling cute might delete thing stuck in the plant. That is goofy. I'd be all for it being Orga, DJ. I think that'd be sick. Was it Serizawa that formed Monarch, or did they retcon that as well? Orca Boss, in canon. In the canon of the MonsterVerse, as is, Godzilla Awakening is not canon. We do not know if there is an E.G. Serizawa. At the moment, there is absolutely no confirmation on where Monarch was founded, other than that Bill Aranda was a founding member. We don't know much. Bill Aranda, actually, I don't even know if he was a founding member. I'm pretty sure in the canon of the MonsterVerse, he's recruited a couple, like, in just after Monarch is founded. Yeah, but Rick the Squirrel, they referenced Lee Shaw as being from Awakening on Twitter. Actually, the character's not even named Lee Shaw in Godzilla Awakening. He's named just Shaw. They just decided that it was the same guy, and it isn't the same guy because his history is wildly differently. His history is wildly different. Oh, thank you much. Thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate that. That's so nice. Pyro Boy 2004, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Godzilla vs. Kong No Axe versus Godzilla 2014. Who's winning? You guys are gonna hate me for this, but if you watch the Godzilla 2014 movie, Godzilla has incredibly well-defined powers. He's not that strong. He's easily wounded in his gills. Easily wounded. The military hurts his ass. And in fact, in earlier drafts of the script, which are not canon, it's explicitly stated that Godzilla is directly wounded there, and Godzilla is actually susceptible to all military weapons in early drafts of the script. In the Godzilla novelization, which we're also going to say is not canon, Godzilla gets punctured like body parts blown off by simple military weapons. That's not really relevant. It's not technically canon, but the important thing that I want to take away from that is Godzilla was not as strong as he is now. The original Godzilla was a much weaker character in Godzilla 2014. You can see that in the movie. When Godzilla gets punched and stabbed by the Mutos, parts of his body are flying off. He's bleeding like crazy. Godzilla gets shoved through buildings and it like knocks him out for minutes at a time. If a Godzilla if a building falling on Godzilla is enough to knock him out for multiple minutes, and I understand he's been fighting the Muto for a couple hours by that point, but the point is, if that can knock Godzilla's ass out, Kong's punches do a lot more damage to a 2014 Godzilla. A 2014 Godzilla is also incredibly slow and lumbering. He can barely reach up for the Muto, man. He's a slow dude. He could probably grab Kong and overpower him and stomp his chest similar to what he does in Godzilla vs. Kong. But I think a GVK Godzilla is going to wipe the floor with a 2014 Godzilla simply because I think he's going to be fast enough to not let that happen. For instance, Godzilla body slams the female Muto. He pushes her down very slowly and lumbering and then stomps on her chest. It seems like he's going to atomic breath her, and then the male Muto catches him off guard. A GVK Godzilla or a GVK Kong in that situation, I don't think is going to be down for long. I think he's going to fall backwards and then roll over and get back up. I also think he's probably going to grab onto Godzilla's leg and throw him off of him. A GVK Godzilla or a GVK Kong clears a 2014 Godzilla pretty high difficulty, but he beats him. Maybe mid difficulty straight up. 2014 Godzilla, if you remember, go back and watch content from the year 2014 and 2015, pre-King of the Monsters. I dare you, if you don't believe that Godzilla was weak in that movie, go back and listen to the way people discuss Godzilla back then. You'll watch reviews of people being like, I liked the movie, but Godzilla was way too weak in that movie. They need to make him stronger for the next one. In fact, you can find early videos of me saying that I didn't like how weak he was, and I really didn't like how much damage that building caused when it fell on him. Like, Godzilla took way too much damage from that, and then Godzilla passes out for the full night. Godzilla's out for a full night after that fight. Like, that wore him out. Kong's beating his ass. Kong's gonna win that fight. That's the truth of that. Moonblast, no he doesn't. Kong gets wrapped up by a warbat. He does not almost lose that fight by any metric. I know that the heave shoots the warbat, and so Kong pulls it off of him. Kong was gonna be fine regardless. Also, the way that warbat wrapped around him, it just simply, I don't think, like, the warbat wraps around Kong's arms, right, with its body, and then its wing tries to suffocate Kong. It's not wrapping his neck. Like, he's not getting choked out very much by it. I don't think he's going to suffocate very quickly in that, especially after we see in Godzilla vs. Kong. He survives underwater with his breath held for a really long time. And then they shoot the warbat. It opens its wings so Kong can, like, catch his breath, supposing he needed to, which, again, he didn't. We already saw the dude was fine underwater for a very long time. And then Kong does one of these and gets the thing unwrapped from his arms. It's not a case of, like, they got the thing off of his arms. Kong still gets it off and then slams it around. Kong did not almost lose to the warbat. What's up, Bonk? Unfortunately, I do have to go. I do have to get going, you guys. But the good news is, in just a few minutes, in just about 15 minutes, I'm going to have a video posted where I edited together the Monarch phone call, so you can check that out if you don't want to call Monarch. The video I'll post in just a few minutes. It's the Monarch phone call. If you actually call the Monarch number that's from this teaser, it gives you some audio stuff. I've edited that together with some of the images of, like, the King of the Monsters ARG for the Titan sightings. I think that's pretty fun. I hope it doesn't confuse people into thinking that those images are from the new movie, but it's just because they're doing the ARG thing and they're like, call in about monster sightings, and then the King of the Monsters ARG was like all the monsters being sighted all over the place. So I thought it was a cool way to cut to edit like a mysterious Monarch video, but that'll go out real soon and you can hear the Monarch audio for yourself if you don't want to call. Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate this. I actually have no idea where I got this. I can't remember anymore. I got it in 2021. I don't remember anymore. I called the Monarch ARG, and if you stay on the line, first of all, I called it like 4 times now, but if you stay on the line, they ask you to do like, they're like, report your Titan sighting. You know, like, tell us where the Titan is. And I took the chance to yell at Bernie Hayes for a little bit. I just was calling him out, you know. I simply believe that Ghidorah was right. Bernie is an idiot. I also don't believe that Bernie helped save the world. Monarch outright denies his involvement with Mechagodzilla. Like, they straight up said he did not get involved and he didn't save the day. I don't believe whatever he spouts on his stupid podcast. All that podcast does is exist to sell you Titan insurance. Like, I don't want Gargantua insurance, Bernie. I want you to take responsibility for the fact that you're spreading misinformation to the world. Mothra pregnancy spree? Mothra pregnancy conspiracy episode? That was trash, bro. Mothra's probably down in the Hollow Earth existing as floating dust or something. That's my guess. That's just a guess. My point is, Bernie is a faker. I wanted to take a moment to call him out to Monarch. Hopefully they do something about that menace, because he has been claiming that he's involved with them for far too long, and it's got to end. It's just got to end. And then I called again to try and yell at Bernie a second time, and they hung up on me. So that's pretty rude of Monarch to do. But I actually have no idea why they hung up on me, because the first time they let me rant for a little bit. The second time, they literally did hang up on me. So, like, no one answered the call. Why did I get hung up on? What was up with that? Anyways, I do got to get going. 15 minutes from now, you'll see that video come out. You can listen to the calls for yourself. And that's that. So big thank you guys all for watching. I really hope I can stream again real soon, because this is some exciting stuff that I would love to keep covering with you guys. I'd especially love to do a like a breakdown of the trailer with you guys. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. It is through the support of the patrons on Patreon that I'm able to continue to make videos like this for you. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below. You can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. I think it's linked in the description below. If it's not, I'll link it. Oh, it is. But yeah, big thank you to all the patrons over on Patreon. Big thank you to all the channel members, people like Alpha Dragon Wolf Warrior. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much to my long-term viewers like Childish Landino, Oscar Hernandez, Rick the Squirrel. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.